What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Investing Bros. It is Friday, the Friday show, guys. It's September 15th, and we got some big news to talk about today, but nothing could be bigger than a potential purchase of Bitcoin by the man who knows how to pump it and dump it better than anyone else. Elon Musk and Tesla might be purchasing Bitcoin again. We're going to talk about that and a lot more in the show. There is some negative news, though, as there is expectations that the price of oil could be shooting back to the upside. What level? Make sure you stick around for the entire show. Smash that like button, and if you are new here, please consider hitting subscribe as we are quickly growing here. We got a fantastic show lined up for you, but first, I got to introduce my co-host, Mr. T-Shroom. How you doing this morning, T-Shroom?
Well, Tim, I'm doing better than I deserve, and I am going to be doing something this weekend that is extremely significant. And this has been a year of significant things that I've done on the weekends, by the way. So be looking forward to some news next week from my personal/professional life.
There we go.
And I've got a quote of the day for us today from Elon Musk. He said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." He certainly did something that was not in the popular favor when he had Tesla sell Bitcoin back in the day. That was pretty significant. That led to a bear market, right? I mean, maybe the bear market was going to come, but it definitely preceded it significantly. So.
Yeah, he definitely has a way of doing things at times that other people probably would tell him it was not the right time to do it. But he's a hard man to bet against. Usually what he decides to do ends up working out for him. Maybe not every time, but a lot of times. So good quote there. I also agree with that. I think there's, go deeper with that. If you believe in something just because it's difficult and just because it doesn't seem likely doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Following your moral compass and your code is always going to be better than following public opinion. So 100% agree with that quote. Mm-hmm. Well, it is Friday, T-Shirt. How are we feeling at the end of the week? It was a good week for you? Productive?
Very productive, yes, but not very many moments of relaxation. A lot of nose to the grindstone, if you will. But it was all rewarded and all worth it.
Yeah, I feel that. Has been some more late nights here at the office, but it's all good, and we're building some stuff that's really good over here. So I'm excited to see it all kind of pay off in the future. But with that said, T-Shroom, let's go ahead and jump on in here, everybody, into our economic update, and we're going to jump into some crypto stuff. Let's start over here on tradingeconomics.com. Biggest thing happening today at 10 a.m., Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report will be coming out. Other than that, not necessarily anything. We got import prices and export prices came in today. Kind of similar. I guess import prices were kind of what was expected, whereas export prices were a little bit higher than expected. So that's one thing right there. Looking forward to next week. We do have building permits coming out 8:30 on Tuesday. But, of course, Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, the big day, we will be getting at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time the federal interest rate decision. And then at 2:30, we will be hearing from Jerome Powell kind of explain. To me, that's the bigger thing. We're expecting a pause. And, of course, we'll go ahead and jump on over here. We're sticking at 97% certain we're going to get a pause from the Fed. But what I'm interested to hear is, what does Jerome Powell say from the press conference? Is he give us signs of positivity moving forward, or does he continue to kind of ride a little bit more of a hawkish take and concern for the future of the economy? We'll have to wait until Wednesday to hear more about that. Let's keep moving on, though, looking at liquidations this morning. Ethereum taking the lead, and it's coming out here. $16 million worth of Ethereum were liquidated. 12 million of those were shorts. 3.8 million of those were longs. Bitcoin now in second place. $9 million worth of shorts were liquidated versus only 6.5 million longs. Third place, we have TRB over here, and then you have a couple more. Not necessarily anything significant. Of course, if you guys watch every single day, we take a look at the liquidations, and these numbers are actually pretty small, meaning price was not necessarily that affected by liquidations within the last 24 hours. Let's move forward and take a look. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, exactly where we left it yesterday, sitting at 45, technically still in the fear, but edging close to that neutral territory. This continues to make me believe from this perspective, I think there is a little bit further to the upside on this rally we could go. But watch out for a potential reversal coming as we move more into neutral, maybe even slip into some slight greed. Definitely want to keep our eyes on that. Let's take a look at coin market cap this morning, see what is happening at the top coins. Bitcoin, after touching up towards 26,000, almost 800, is back down this morning. I saw levels down towards 26.3. We're back up to 26.4. But in the last 24 hours, we are down 0.32%. Ethereum down 0.25%. No one cares about Tether's price because that's going to stay pretty much the same. If we see anything red or massively green on that one, that's when we'll talk more about them. XRP, though, had a good last 24 hours, up 1.83%. So far, the top mover of the top coins. Cardano slightly down. Solana slightly to the upside. Tron up 1.6%. Toncoin back in a big jump in the last 24 hours, up 4%. That more than likely is going to be the biggest mover of our top 20. Well, I say that, and then I look at Bitcoin Cash, up 5.6%. So Bitcoin Cash, the big winner of our top 20. Let's take a look at big winners overall, though, within the top 100. XDC up almost 8% is our big leader of the day. Thorchain right behind it at 6.2%. Compound up almost 6%. And, of course, we talked about Bitcoin Cash already. VeChain as well, sneaking up here almost 5% up on the day. So we do have a couple gainers. Let's take a look and see if there's any losers here. We do have some losers. Oh, my goodness. ApeCoin coming in at 7.2% down. Again, for the first time in a while, yesterday we had ApeCoin sitting in the positives. It was one of the top gainers yesterday morning, but now it is back down 7% down 16% in the last 7 days. So not a good week for them. HBAR is also down 3.3%. Axie Infinity, I think they were the top gainer yesterday. They're now down 7% as well. Any other coins? Sandbox down 1.7%. But then you get to your level. Some coins are down, but it's not necessarily anything too dramatic. That is our coin market cap open of the day. Kind of went through that a little bit quicker, but you got everything you need. Make sure you smash that like button. And if you were helped out by that, let's go ahead, though, T-Shroom, and jump into our top story of the day. Before we jump into TA, what is the big news we're looking at this morning?
Absolutely, Tim. Well, you may remember this headline back from July 20th, 2022, when Elon Musk, Tesla, sold 75% of its Bitcoin. And then it also stopped taking Bitcoin payments, also a key there. Well, the reason he gave was because of its environmental impact, right? Well, that environmental impact has shifted. The narrative has changed, and his goal has been reached. Elon Musk said Tesla would resume Bitcoin payments now that it has crossed this threshold. That threshold, of course, being the miners using 50% renewables, 50% sustainables energy there. So there's always going to be a mix of how you power things. Now Bitcoin is now powered by renewable and sustainable energy. This is according to Bloomberg Intelligence Research. So there is the variable of Elon saying, well, I don't believe Bloomberg, so we'll see. But some of the details here is Tesla still holds more than 9,000 Bitcoin, which is valued at $259 million. They have it in their corporate treasury, making it the third largest public Bitcoin holder in the world. So it's pretty significant here, guys. It's pretty significant. This is definitely a story that's kind of taking the crypto space by storm today. You're going to be seeing it all over. It's a pretty big one. And what it does, Tim, is it really puts the ball in Elon's court to say, hey, Elon, it's your move. You set a threshold. You drew a line in the proverbial sand. That line has now been crossed, according to Bloomberg research. It's your move. What's Elon's move from here, Tim?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised to find out later. We wouldn't know the minute he buys it, but I would not be surprised to find out later he would be purchasing Bitcoin again, because even though he's made statements like that, I don't think Elon really has ever been anti-Bitcoin, but I do think he's made moves accordingly. He's done things. He's sold Bitcoin at times to prove liquidity. He's sold times because at the end of the day, he has the right to sell. I mean, if he needs to make some money to purchase and invest in other ways, he has the right to do it. But especially with as we get closer here, I do think it's going to be interesting to see more things come out. We have one source from Bloomberg now reporting that Bitcoin is above 50% in clean energy. I think it'd be nicer. I think you're going to want to see more than one source for certainty on that. But I would not be surprised to find out that Elon's going to be buying. And also, I personally believe we're getting close towards a bottom before a real bull market starts later on next year. This is the time that a lot of institutions are looking at gobbling up more supply. So I think for a multitude of reasons, not even just the clean energy portion, we more than likely will see Tesla and Elon Musk. Maybe we see Twitter even purchasing a decent amount of Bitcoin moving forward. But the last thing I'll say is I understand why, though, with Tesla being so focused with their mission, their why, and everything being clean, providing clean energy for the world and using vehicles that do so, I would understand why he thought it was appropriate to say, hey, we'll buy more when Bitcoin goes clean. And that looks like the time is now, or at least getting close.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Well, I'm scrolling through his Twitter now. Through Elon, he hasn't said anything about it quite yet. I mean, this news essentially broke yesterday, and that is what everybody's waiting for. Is what is Elon going to do? My guess is that you will be able to pay for Teslas and Tesla services in Bitcoin within the next couple months, right? But what maybe even by the end of October, right? But what I think is also important to remember is that there's some confluence of narratives here, which is what is also Elon's goal is to make X kind of the WeChat or like the super app for America, or maybe even for the West, right? To where you can do a lot of banking and social media and a lot of other services that mobile apps provide, all in X, right? That's kind of his goal, right? So I think that's also important to consider. He may have some bigger plans that may motivate him or de-incentivize him to allow Bitcoin payments at this time, but that's just a little bit of speculation. Of course, I don't know, and I definitely don't know how the cookie's going to crumble. But what I will say is actually just looking at Elon Musk's Twitter bio right now, I noticed something which kind of proves my point, is that if you look at the location, there's like a little Dogecoin right next to X. It's literally Dogecoin is in his bio constantly. So that's kind of the elephant in the room, right? If I'm Elon, is like, well, I've kind of got this other project going that I haven't fully associated myself with officially, but there's a lot of speculation. I think it's no surprise to anybody that Dogecoin is kind of Elon's baby at this point. Of course, that's not official. There's a chance that it's not. A chance that it's just a meme, right? But it does seem that whatever X is going to be, the mega app that X could be, it more than likely is going to incorporate Doge, and that's why I hold a little bit of it. That's why we've been talking about it here on the Investing Bros. So anyway, that's my take, guys.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you're right. I don't think there's anything official. There's definitely no documentation of anything, but he is the face of Doge. People think the dog is the face of Doge, but no, it's Elon. Elon tweets one thing and it can pump upwards of 20% within an hour just because of his tweets. And then he can do things that make it dump 20% within an hour. He's just got that kind of influence over it. And I think he's teased us with enough information to say that Doge is a big part of his plan with Twitter. Again, can you say it's official? I think it's probably premature to say official, but it's extremely likely at this point that Doge has a big part of X's future.
Yep, absolutely. He's the Doge father after all. He's the Doge father here. You can see him. People have loved to make this meme for sure. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and slip right on into our trivia before we get into the charts. What do you think about that, Tim?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What you got for us?
All right, guys. Well, I don't know yet because I haven't
the
read
elves,
it. The little elf here, our trivia elf, comes up with a factoid of the day, and here is today's factoid. Oh, this is a good one, Tim. What is the world's second largest corporation by market cap? Is it A?
Oh, crap.
NVIDIA. B.
Not NVIDIA.
JP Morgan Chase. C. Microsoft. Or D. Amazon. So these are your choices, Tim.
I'm leaning towards C or D.
Okay. Right.
Goodness gracious. Let's go Amazon.
Going to go Amazon.
For a second day in a row of D being the correct answer.
I like it. Going to lock in D. Excellent. Let us know in the chat what your guess is. What is the world's second largest corporation by market cap? Is it NVIDIA? Yeah. Is it JP Morgan? Is it Microsoft? Is it Amazon? Let us know. And if you, for some reason, don't think it's one of these choices, although I assure you it is, go ahead and write in the chat what you think it is. Maybe it's the investing bros. I don't know. We'll see. Bye-bye, little elf. All right, Tim, you ready to get into the charts?
Let's do it. Let's get in the charts. Guys, of course, the charts are always brought to you by Chart Prime, the best indicators out there for trading and for investing. Make sure to check out with our link down below. I'll just show you guys if you guys want. Go right down here. Open, haven't opened this up. Go to our little description. Scroll down here. A lot of good links. Click on all these links, but definitely come over here if you want to make some more money and you want access to these amazing indicators you see on display every single day. Click on that and you guys will see 45% off discount off your first month or quarter. The best deal you will get. That's going to be super cheap. You'll make that money back extremely quickly. Go act on that today. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing even before we pull up any of our indicators or oscillators. You guys can see here last night we did get back up to a level of resistance we've been discussing. We briefly touched 26,800. We do have a higher level at 27 that also could be interesting. But we're going to see when we pull up the indicators. There were some signs we rejected right there, and it's time to come back down. But I don't necessarily believe that this is meaning that the time is done completely. Let me go ahead and extend this out as well. Watch for, in my opinion, I think we could come all the way back down to 26,000. Of course, we've already touched 26.3 this morning. We're hovering at 26.4. Losing $400 is not that big of a deal. Maybe retest 26,000 as support and then make a move to the upside. Of course, I told you guys also, as we're looking at the volume right here, what we're wanting to see here, we did see some good volume coming up into the resistance level, but what I want to see is if/when the price breaks above this level of resistance at 27,000, that's when I want to see a bunch of volume come in. We might see a very slow, let's say the price went down like this, came up. We want to see high volume, maybe then come back down, retest that, and then that's our cue to the price going to the upside. Let's take a look, though, at what the oscillators are saying this morning over on the 4-hour chart. You guys can see here one of the reasons why I am kind of still optimistic that this run is not over is we do not have any reversal of any kind. We don't have an overbought flash. We don't have reversal. We don't have engulfing candles over on our RSI. You really see a regrouping kind of take place. As you move down to the hourly chart, you did get an overbought flash right here at this peak. So that was a good indication that we were overextended. But when you look at the oscillators, look at how quickly RSI, after touching and getting overbought, look at how close it is to being back down to the downside, even though look at prices down here. We're already lower than we had prices back here just a couple of days ago. So I am seeing some very classic retracement that's going to be setting up some bullish divergence, what we would call hidden bullish divergence, and a move to the upside resuming here very, very shortly. Also here on the hourly chart, you guys are seeing the green histograms starting to warm up here on our MVP oscillator. Although with the update, I do believe this has a different name now. I do believe if you go into settings, this is now called the volatility wave instead of MVP oscillator. So just in case you guys have the new update, you're confused what I'm talking about, that I got used to it being called MVP. So that is my level of that. But yeah, seeing this is actually very, very encouraging for the bulls. Again, moving to the upside. I'm sitting here wondering, guys, before I thought we were going to make it a 28.6 here back on at the end of August. Didn't get there. Is this the chance we go ahead and push up there? That's what I'm kind of leaning towards for right now. But let's take a look at some other things. I do believe we did have a reversal come in. Yes, we did. We had a reversal come in on our Market Oracle Pro, kind of matching up with the hourly reversal. So that is part of the reason why we went to the downside. But what you'll notice here is when looking at this wave, we did not get up into that wave. Now, do we have to touch that wave every single time to be a reversal? No, not necessarily. But you'll notice by going back and just looking at the history, these waves, when the waves are touched or you go below or above the waves, that is some of the strongest indication that a good reversal is coming. So you are looking for a lot of confluence here, but just go back and look at every single strong reversal here on the 4-hour chart. Almost every single one of them came with the price going up into or above the waves or below the waves, and we did not quite have a touch there. And as I pointed out yesterday, you guys will notice when looking at this wave, it is trending to the upside. Come on, grab my marker. This trending to the upside right now. Do we potentially see the price of Bitcoin kind of sneak and come back up into the wave and maybe get into the wave at that 28.6, and then that is our reversal? Again, got to continue to wait and see how that plays out. But at this point in time, I'm pretty encouraged by what I'm seeing here on our indicators and our oscillators. This little rally is not over. We're simply going through a retracement where we're continuing to set higher highs and higher lows on this short-term bullish trend. Let's take a look at our multi-time frame support and resistance, sitting exactly the same as yesterday. Of course, we have these order blocks sitting above us up towards 28,000. We got our strong support below us, but not a whole heck of a lot else in between. Let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile and see if there's any levels of significance to keep our eyes on. Let's just look at this time period since the fall back on the 17th of August. You guys will see we kind of got above, but we're now back down below the value area high. Again, one of the reasons why I think 26 could come back into play is because not only is that kind of a flat level where you see a lot of support and resistance before, it's also the point of control here with our fixed range volume profile. So a lot of reasons to be bullish on Bitcoin in the short term, but maybe the rest of the day, kind of hold your horses, wait for things to play out, wait for a little bit further drop to the downside. In fact, I told you guys in the hourly chart, we're getting close. Let's go look a little bit closer. Let's drop all the way to the 15-minute chart, see what we're seeing down here. You're actually starting to see a little bit of a bounce back up on 15-minute. Oversold flashes right here. Let's take a look at 30, kind of split the difference between 15 minutes and 1 hour. Overextended. Definitely overextended downside, getting those overbought flashes. So I might be corrected, guys. We might not have to drop all the way to 26,000. We could keep going down. Even though we have a lot of bullish indicators coming in, we could continue to drop just a little bit more. But you are seeing below that 1 hour chart, a lot of bullish signs are coming up on the charts. Definitely keep your eyes on that. Let's take a look at some other things this morning. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. It did drop briefly. Right now, we're below 50%, but you guys can see that we are still in the process of setting higher highs, higher lows. We're on the hourly chart, so let's go all the way up to the 4-hour chart. Higher highs, higher lows on Bitcoin dominance. We're getting back above 50%. Of course, big news that we broke through a former level of resistance back here. That is very important. Even if we were to drop all the way back down to this blue line, that's still a bullish move from a technical analysis standpoint, that Bitcoin dominance could just be regrouping to move back to the upside. It's also a reason when I'm looking at this chart, in case you guys are wondering the significance of this, as we're seeing Bitcoin climb to the upside, there's reasons by looking at this chart to suspect that even if we see other altcoins climbing up like Ethereum, like Cardano, like XRP, they might not be moving as quickly as Bitcoin because this is a season where the dominance of Bitcoin is moving to the upside. Let's take a look at Ethereum real quick over here. You guys know that I'm keeping an eye on this level around 1817 because that's a former support level, but there's some other levels to absolutely be keeping your eyes on closer towards 1750. Let's take a look at the oscillators real quick though. Here on the 4-hour chart, had our nice bullish. We're not overextended yet, although we are running into some resistance right here that we struggled with a couple of days ago around 1644. We do have an engulfing candle here on the 4-hour chart, a bearish engulfing candle. So definitely keep your eyes on that. It's not necessarily as bullish as Bitcoin, but like I just said, with Bitcoin dominance chart increasing, that actually makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Let's take a look at some indicators, though, from Chart Prime and see what's happening here. Now, there's two ways to kind of read this. You guys remember Bitcoin was almost touching this wave when it comes to, where's my, do I not have my dynamic reactor on? I got to come up here and fix this. Where? Because I just restructured all this. There we go. Got to come back in here. And we don't call this, it's actually, I keep saying the dynamic reactor because that was the old name for it. We're actually looking at the volume flex, I do believe. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So instead of like with Bitcoin, let me go back and show you guys Bitcoin real quick with this. Bitcoin, we have reconquered that dynamic reactor, that volume flex. And if we come down again towards that 26,000, we'll be turning it into support. Over on Ethereum, we are using that at volume flex as a level of resistance. So again, a little bit more bearish, but that also gives us maybe a little bit more room that if Ethereum could make a little bit of a boost, maybe like we were talking about with Bitcoin dominance, maybe Bitcoin dominance does drop back down to this blue line turning into support. Well, if that's the case, Ethereum could take advantage of that and maybe have a nice little explosive move up here to this red band. But again, it's going to start running into problems here around 1700. So definitely keep your eyes there. Let's take a look at some multi-time frame support and resistance. We got some order blocks up here towards 1740, 1750. We have several levels of strong resistance sitting right above us. One right here, daily strongest at 1668. And then we have some other really strong levels of resistance up here right below 1700. So definitely keep your eyes there. There's still a lot possible that we could get stopped out before getting up to these order blocks. But as much as I've been holding and looking at this level, 1818 or so, it would be interesting. I have a sneaky suspicion that Ethereum is not going to be able to outpace Bitcoin. They're not going to be able to get back up to that level. I think Bitcoin could make it back up to its level of former support, but Ethereum, unfortunately, I think it's a little bit too far extended, and I don't think the charts and the way everything's playing out is giving us the cards that would end up happening. But I definitely want you guys to keep your eyes on those levels because they're all significant. And if the bulls pick up some steam, we absolutely could see Ethereum have a nice little day. Let's put this down real quick. I see Eric Wallen says, Tim's TA is like a sermon at church. Your mind just starts to wander. Yeah, well, we got to go around and wait. How many sermons at church have you listened to, Eric Wallen? I didn't know that you went to church. That's good for you. Let's keep moving on though and take a look at some other coins. We didn't look at XRP recently. They haven't done anything too in depth there. So let's take a look at what it is doing. You guys can see after a lot of lower highs, lower lows, while we technically are still setting lower highs and lower lows, you definitely are seeing like a rounding off type of momentum happening with XRP. And I think we might be making a move back up to that upside. 55 cents continues to be a strong level of resistance, however. So let's take a look at what we're seeing with oscillators. Let's take a look at some levels. Ooh, that is not a good sign. So again, we talked about with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we still have some room to the upside. XRP, on the other hand, though, even though the RSI is not that high, it's getting a triple whammy of bearish calls here on the oscillator. Overbought flashed this morning, bearish divergence flashed, a red reversal triangle. So this is not necessarily what you're wanting to see. Maybe another move to the downside before it can regroup and move to the upside. Let's take a look at what we're seeing with Market Oracle. Again, yeah, rejection right there on that volume flex, or what I like to call the dynamic reactor. That's not a good sign whatsoever for XRP. Let's take a look at these as well. It rejected right there on multiple levels of resistance. That's the number 3 for the 4-hour, I believe, and then the number 2 on the 12-hour. You guys see an order block down here that we could be retracing back down to about 48.3 cents to fill an order block. Could be an interesting thing to watch there, according to Chart Prime. Even kind of zooming out here, let's take a look at XRP from a more macro perspective. The good news here is, despite the fact that we did wick all the way down to 43 cents, we are technically, by a very slim margin, still looking at a higher lows. Yes, in this kind of tertiary trend, XRP has been setting lower highs, lower lows, but when you're looking more macro, you guys can easily see that this is the slope kind of happened, and then we're still technically moving to the upside with these lows. So it is important for bullish momentum on XRP to continue to hold that. However, again, you guys know that I do think you're going to possibly get a chance to scoop up some more XRP closer towards 40 cents. Outside chance you come down to 35, but I might lean a little bit. I don't know. That's going to be a hard one, especially if Bitcoin dominance continues to climb. XRP could slip down below 40 cents. Absolutely. Let's take a look at fixed range volume profile. I don't even want to go out. Let's just go all the way back to the bottom and see what we're working with. If there's anything of significant, finding support on the value area high is important. Let's kind of scoot this timeline up though and see if we're seeing anything more significant. Let me just go ahead and delete this because it's gonna give me a little bit more problems. Let's look at our timeline ever since back here when we lost 63 cents. Grab it one more time. What do we have going on here? You're going to see we're kind of wrestling with the point of control, finding support on the value area low. So that's a positive sign. It would be important for XRP to get above this point of control and then maybe make a push up towards value area high at 53 cents, maybe make another push towards 55 cents. But for right now, not necessarily bullish in the short term on XRP after seeing what we're seeing on this 4-hour chart. Could be a little bit longer, a rough day for XRP than other cryptocurrencies. That's going to kind of wrap up our TA for today, but let me know in the comments if you enjoyed that, if that was helpful. Ask some questions. We're about to get our answer of the trivia question of the day, but we are going to engage with chat. So if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, or if you have comments, I'm going to try to read some of those while we get our answer from T-Shroom.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm seeing Crypto Billy in the chat. Big shout out to Crypto Billy. He's awesome, and he's also helped us. We're gonna be having an announcement soon. He's helped us make an awesome new contact. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that in the coming days, probably next week. But guys, our factoid of the day was what is the world's second largest corporation by market cap? Yeah. So get your answers in here. We're on YouTube Live, so we're a little bit ahead of you guys. as you're listening. But the answer to this trivia factoid is Microsoft is the answer. You can check it out right here, guys. Number one is Apple.
Man.
It is $2.7 trillion worth of market cap. There is Apple. And then you've got Microsoft. And then in the top three, you have a non-American company, which is Saudi Aramco, basically the national oil producer there for the beautiful country of Saudi Arabia. Can't say enough good things about them. Huge fans of the channel. Gotta love them. Nothing negative to say about Saudi Arabia at all. So, yeah, that's going to be our factoid of the day.
Here's what I will say. Leave that chart up because I'm looking at it. I will admit, NVIDIA is a little higher than I thought. Mm-hmm. And what I was confused about, the reason I went with Amazon, I thought Amazon was going to be a little higher. And I didn't know that Apple was going to be I knew Apple was high, but I knew with the recent news that China's government no longer is letting their politicians and probably a lot of people in their country use Apple products. I would have thought Apple would have taken a tumble. My suspicion was that Microsoft had jumped up to 1 and that maybe Amazon was kind of flirting around that 3 spot and had moved up to 2. But that's a good factoid. It was a good one. Microsoft was my second choice, but the L's did well. They tricked me out this morning.
So the thing with Apple, not to cut you off, Tim, but the thing with Apple is they actually were at 3 trillion. So you're right. Yeah. They've had a retracement big time in their market cap, but they were already at 3 trillion. I can't remember what the country was, but it was big news because Apple was bigger than some big country. Like, I want to say Germany. It wasn't Germany, but some country that you're like, what? How is that possible? So anyway, that was our factoid of the day. We love to have fun with that. So yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Guys, you are locked into the Investing Bros right now. If you're watching for the first time, you may want to consider hitting this little button right here. This is the join button. To become a member and help support the channel, you can hop into the silver, the gold, or the diamond tier. Either of those, you're going to get access to the paid Discord. You're going to get access to these awesome badges that change colors as and reflect, the loyalty and the length of time that you've been with us here. You see some red badges in the chat today. And then you also get some of these highly customized emojis there. Some have called them NFTs. They're not NFTs, but some have called them that. So that's the way that cookie crumbles. Guys, we really would appreciate the support. It really goes a long way to help Tim and I do what we do as well as we possibly can. So without further ado, Tim, are you ready to jump into the rest of the stories for today?
Yeah, I did see a comment that I definitely agree with, and we've talked about this before. Pest Killers, shout out to him, said NVIDIA crash is looming. And that's not a popular opinion, by the way. A lot of people super bullish on NVIDIA, and one of the reasons why is because, it's for good reason. NVIDIA doing some very special things, but I agree with you, Pest Killers. There are things on that NVIDIA chart that make me believe there could be a big dip that allows people to come and scoop back up some good supply and good prices for that supply. So I 100% agree with you, Pest Killers. Crash, I think, crash is a loose term. And what defines crash? But I do think a good dip is coming in NVIDIA, and then it's going to bounce back even stronger because that's a very strong company. Could be interesting to see if NVIDIA makes it into maybe the top 3 very, very soon because they're a big part of what the future looks like with AI and computer chips.
Yep. It's crazy. They started as just a humble gaming company, just making little video, little chips so that you can play Halo and higher frame rates. Look at them now. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the stories here. We've got some good ones. Binance.us not playing ball with the probe, says the SEC. This is not good, as focus now has turned to the custody arm. CEFFU, I guess is the name of that. But so not a good turn here in the Binance regulation narrative. The crypto exchange says clients' assets are safe and that regulators are merely engaged in a futile phishing expedition. FUD, you may classify it, perhaps. I don't know if Binance has ever been the victim of FUD though, so I don't know if there's precedent for that. Binance.us continues to rely on custody provider provided by the company's internal arm in violation of previous deal, the SEC has said. So getting into the nitty-gritty here, there's a lot of details the public doesn't know about because it's a legal inquiry by the SEC after all. So there's only so much we can speculate, but this is a negative tick for this narrative, right? This is not what you want to see. And I'll go ahead and I'll put a prediction out there. I think what's going to happen here is it's not going to be a big headline moment, right? I think you might have a headline from the SEC, fining Binance.us, but it's not going to be a huge fine. I think what you're going to see is a slow burn. And Binance.us is going to essentially get down just to the market cap levels of other crypto exchanges that you've probably never heard about, right? But that are still legitimate and doing pretty big volume. So that's kind of my prediction, is that this Binance.us narrative is just going to kind of melt away until Binance.us is still existing, but it's not what it once was, the competitive giant up there competing with Coinbase. So that's my prediction. That's totally separate from Binance Global. That's just the Binance.us. So Tim, what are your thoughts on this? Is there any kind of positive outcome here for Binance.us?
I'm not sure. And here's the thing again, while Binance has just been under constant attack from the SEC and from other officials that have provided no evidence whatsoever, you got to give them the win on that one. Binance.us, though, on the other hand, like just Binance.us, because they still claim to be two different entities, not necessarily the same company. The FUD has just been probably just too much for them. I mean, of course, the CEO stepping down. Other people have definitely stepped down. In fact, go to my screen here. This is something I'm just curious about. I wish I could know more information about this. This was a tweet put out by Watcher.guru of all the different resignations in the past 3 months that have happened at Binance. So at Binance itself, that's the wrong chart. Yep. There we go. Binance itself lost their chief strategy officer, their VP of compliance, their head of product, general counsel, and head of APAC. Binance.us has had the CEO leave, head of legal, and then chief risk. Now, I will say, when it comes to these ones, I think there's an easy explanation of the business has just plummeted. And it's one of those things that maybe they've gotten better job offers. They can move on to something else. It does look like the SEC, with no evidence whatsoever, is being successful in destroying this company. When it comes to Binance, though, VP of compliance, head of product, general counsel, why are they leaving? Especially this one. That's the one that I'm really curious to know. And you cannot say that there's anything bad happening for certain. There's a plethora of reasons why he could leave. But in a season where there's so much work to be done in giving counsel and dealing with legal problems, why did general counsel step down? Did he need, is it just too much for him? Is he want a less stressful job? I don't know. But I do have to give at least a small amount of concern. Not that I'm saying Binance is screwed and everything that the SEC is accused of is true, but when you see this many resignations, it's unwise to just say, "Oh, that's a coincidence." No, there could be something happening that we're not aware of. I don't know, and I'm not trying to spread FUD on Binance. I still believe in Binance long term. It's still the largest exchange out there, but I think it is time to maybe ask some more questions. I do think time will tell a little bit more. Do not think the SEC is right. I do think the SEC just continues to throw FUD with no evidence whatsoever. But is there possibly something happening within Binance that's a little sketchy? I don't know.
Yes. So Tim, it's a good take. And I think there's more coming here, but I don't think it's going to shock the markets. I think it's going to be
I don't think so either.
So Crypto Seth has volunteered to come on today for a DGen Friday. We do have enough stories to fill, but I could kill the oil story and just say, be careful for oil. I could give a short summary. We want to have him on.
Well, I definitely want to cover the oil. We'll have him. Let's do the oil story, and then if he's able to jump on, would love to get some DGen picks from him again. With all the chaos going on, we have not done a good job of scheduling those, but we need to start getting those back.
Okay, I'm going to do a hyper speed through the rest of these stories, and then Tim, I'll get your take, and during that take, I'll shoot Crypto Seth the link. So Seth, stand by. I'm going to send it to you on Telegram. All right, so here we go. Let's go into hyperspeed here. Going to start off. Tucker Carlson had a interview with the potential Libertarian Party leader Xavier Milei of Argentina. Why do we care about Argentinian politics? Well, first of all, if Tucker cares, I kind of care. Say what you want about Tucker, but he's asking the right questions. He's talking to the right people. This candidate wants to shut the central bank of Argentina. and dollarize essentially the country. But he also is a huge proponent of Bitcoin, which would get some market share there in transaction share. It's already very widely circulated, a high adoption rate of Bitcoin there in Argentina. Why am I excited about this? Because he's the purple one. That's the libertarian part. He is surging in the polls, guys. This is very, very exciting. Usually a politician who's running on anything radical is not popular, but every once in a while they are. And there's been some extremely bad outcomes of that phenomenon in history. I'm sure some come to mind of radical leaders, but there's also, sometimes it's what's necessary in times of stagnation and corruption. So I think that's probably a time that the Argentinian people are experiencing. So that'll be a story to watch. I'm very excited about it. Ray Dalio says he's holding cash, not buying bonds and debt. Basically, his argument here is that you can get just as much in interest-bearing savings accounts as you can get in bonds. So don't lock yourself into a bond. Oil just hit its highest level of the year, and some analysts expect a return to 100. Guys, that's the level here, and I've got a chart pulled up. 100 would put us up here, which would be a 11.6% increase from where we are now. The fact that we've already touched $90 per barrel is very significant and shows that there's a good chance that we will go up and touch 100. Guys, that's terrible inflation. That essentially equals more rate hikes in the future if the Fed does have an appetite for that. Oil was the one that did not play ball in this last CPI reading. It is bad. This is bad. It's not good, but it's we don't know yet what the ramifications of the increased price of oil is going to be. There's also some strikes going on. But Tim, I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to throw it to your chart. I want to get your thoughts on the oil prices and how that could trickle into CPI. And I'm going to get Crypto Seth on here for the rest of the show.
Yeah, when it comes to oil, let me come out to a larger time frame here.
We've also got there's a lot chat.
Yeah, okay, I'll read those super chats here in just a second. There's a lot of speculation that oil might have been able to make it back down towards $40 a barrel, back to highs we had back in July of 2020. Of course, that did not happen. It looks like we bottomed out here at 63. I think you hit it right on the head. There's not a whole lot more to kind of elaborate on here, T-Shroom. With oil prices going up, of course, that kind of bleeds into everything. I mean, that would affect food prices, that affects transportation, that affects living. I mean, oil kind of bleeds into almost everything that makes up the CPI. And so if oil goes up, of course, CPI goes up as well. And to be fair, that's one of the reasons why, despite the fact that inflation has been dropping, Jerome Powell has stayed a little bit more on the side of saying, hey, it's dropping and that's good, but we need to stay aggressive to continue to tackle this and to make sure that we don't let it get back out of control. Well, if oil's skyrocketing back up towards 100, and to be fair, 100 is only kind of coming back. That's not rematching the all-time high. Our high at this point is almost to 130. But that's still going to be pretty detrimental to the economy as a whole, very detrimental to inflation, and could be something that changes this right here as we start to look out. Right now, there's no plans for any interest rates hikes anymore. We're still looking at June as being the first time they're expected to cut. But if oil keeps climbing, we absolutely could see, as we get towards November, December, we could start to see maybe the rumors come back in that they're going to do another interest rate hike. They definitely have no plans to cut anytime soon. And I want to see how that one kind of plays out. I do know we have some super chats here. Elo Brown said O'Leary never gave up, holding that grudge. I'm assuming, Elo, you're talking about against Binance. That is very true. Of course, we know O'Leary had a very close tie to Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, and he very much blames CZ and Binance for the downfall of the company, which is still a little bit outrageous, but you're right. He holds a grudge. Elliot Locke, thank you for your super chat as well. He said, how can the SEC go after Binance since they are not a U.S. company? Isn't that overreach? Yeah, but I think what they're going after, Elliot, is they're going after the involvement they've had in the United States. I also think they don't, while we don't buy it, first of all. I remember being in Austin back on, you can go to Brocam here, T-Shroom, unless that's going to mess something up.
No, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember being in Austin back in 2022 and we went to the Binance.us booth and they were very clear. They're like, we are not Binance. We are Binance.us. It's two complete different companies. And we were all sitting there like, okay, like this is just BS. Like, you guys are the same company. One of the reasons why they might be doing it was to try to keep Binance from the realms of American SEC going after them. But it's very clear Americans have utilized Binance. There's very clearly a tie between Binance and Binance.us. So that's kind of, Elliot, at this point, what I've seen them going after, because you're right. The SEC has no jurisdiction over a non-American company. But what they're going after is interference and things that Binance has done to circumvent that being in a different country and still be offering things to American citizens. So that's pretty much the short answer of that. More complicated, I'd have to do more research, or someone way smarter than me could probably give you some better answers there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of someone way smarter than you, we've got Crypto Seth on. How you doing, Crypto Seth?
Amen.
Hey, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Better than we deserve.
Good, man.
That's great. It's been a very long time since I've been on the Investing Bro show, or we've done a DGen Fridays. It's great to be back. I know it was a bit impulsive. I was in the chat, but you know what? Had free time, thought, come on, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can get this on and talk about some DGen coins and just low cap gems on what's going on in the, I don't want to call it DGen world, but the altcoin world, let's just say.
Yeah. Real quick, Seth, before you get in here, guys, we got over 150 people watching. Thank you so much. Smash that like button. We got 150 people, but only 81 likes. So got to get those numbers up. If you guys are loving the show so far and you're excited about some DGen alpha here, smash the like button. Seth, what do you got for us? What is hot on your radar at the moment?
Okay, so today I want to talk about basically the 3 new narratives in the DGen space. So everyone knows gaming, AI. We all know all those major narratives, layer 1s as well, oracles, layer 2. We hear it over and over again in crypto. However, there's 3 new narratives that are really popping up in the crypto space, which is GPU distribution, block DAG, and ordinals. Now, we've seen little trends in crypto of these 3 narratives. However, in my perspective, they're here to stay. We've had other narratives pop up, such as Telegram bots, but I don't really believe they're here to stay due to the fact that no smart money is really going to flow into them. No institution's going to be buying a Telegram bot. There's no utility in it at the end of the day. However, these 3 picks right here all have utility as well as the capacity for hype, which is very important. I talk about this a lot. You want to have a project with the perfect balance of hype and utility. That's what gets people wanting to invest into cryptocurrency. It needs to be futuristic. It needs to be something amazing, but also provide utility to systems. So these 3 narratives, I'll quickly explain them. I'll give some gems in them that are popular and more lower risk. And then I'll give you guys some DGen picks within each of these narratives as well. So to start off with, we have Render. Render is the top project within the GPU distribution narrative. Most of you guys probably know it. Now, if you don't know what this GPU narrative really is, I'll try and explain it really simply. All it is a platform in which people can borrow computing power, and people are giving their computing power in the form of GPUs and running chips, basically mining of these projects for other people to borrow. That's basically what it is in a very simple form. Render is the market mover and has been around for multiple cycles in crypto. However, narratives are important. Render was not a narrative. GPU distribution wasn't a narrative last cycle, but it is this cycle. How do we know? Well, in this bear market, Render almost took out its all-time high. All-time high was 1.2 billion. It went to 1 billion during a bear market. This is a narrative for the next bull market. Now, Render is the safest pick in this narrative. So if you're not really looking to be DGen, you want to be safe, Render is probably the best pick. However, if you want to be more DGen, and have the opportunity to make maybe hundreds of X's, one that I would check out personally is Dynex. Now, why is Dynex good in my eyes? It comes down to how you would judge a GPU distribution narrative. To me, how I would do it is, 1, by the number of GPUs operating on that platform. If one platform has 100 GPUs and one has 10,000, if an institution was looking to come in to borrow GPU power or computing power in general, they're going to pick the one of the most GPUs. And Dynex boasts 170,000 GPUs on their platform. Actually, 181,000 if you look right here, which is a lot in comparison to a lot of the other GPU distribution cryptos out there. So this is why, based on my analysis, I think this is probably one of the better contenders for low cap gems in the GPU distribution narrative. you have anything you want to talk about before I go into the next narrative, or should we move on?
No, that's really good. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, so the next narrative that is emerging is BlockDAG. You guys have probably heard this buzzword come up loads of times in the crypto space. Now, the main reason you've heard this buzzword is due to Casper. Casper is a BlockDAG cryptocurrency. Now, to understand what BlockDAG is, it's quite complicated. We have regular blockchains, then we have DAGs. Now, to understand the difference between those two, it's mainly just a DAG is like a linked list, transactions after transactions following each other. No, not a DAG, sorry. Blockchain is like a linked list, and a DAG is like a graph. Imagine that's what a DAG is. Now, BlockDAG is both of the benefits of each other combined into one. Think of it like that. That's not what it is exactly, but it's the best way to conceptualize the concept of a BlockDAG. Now, the main reason BlockDAG is a narrative is because people actually believe it solves a trilemma. Now, whether it does or not is a different story. That's not really important. It's what people believe that's important. And people believe BlockDAGs solve the trilemma. So Casper is the market mover for BlockDAG cryptos. However, Casper's done very well, and I'm sure it's going to do well this cycle. But people aren't going to make thousands of X's from Casper now. Not even hundreds of X's, in my opinion. Predicting $100 billion market cap for Casper at the moment is not something I find wise, considering you can't even build on Casper at the moment. However, if you're looking to be more degen and play on the same narrative as Casper, a good pick in my perspective is Taraxa. Taraxa is one of the few BlockDAGs that exist. It's a little bit different to Casper as it's proof of stake, but it can be used for essentially the same concept. But the main reason I like Taraxa as a good low-cap degen alternative to Casper is because you can actually build on Taraxa now. It's not like a concept. Right now, Casper can be used for peer-to-peer transactions, and the smart contract side is a concept because you can't do it right now. You can actually build upon Taraxa right now. So this is one of the main reasons why I prefer this one as a degen pick instead of Casper. Now, keep in mind, if Casper does very well this cycle, goes to $20 billion, $30 billion in market cap, maybe only $10 billion. If you analyze each category in crypto and look at what percentage the second, third, and fourth, and fifth project went to based on the market cap of the top project, for example, Axie Infinity went to 10 billion, the second best gaming project went to 7 billion, and that was Sandbox. The third one went to 6 billion, which is Gala. So if you apply that same concept, and it does work throughout basically every single narrative in crypto, Casper goes to whatever it goes to. If this could only go to 10%, you're going to be looking at 100 X's. So this is one of the main reasons why I believe the BlockDAG narrative is one to bet on. If you believe in Casper, these low caps will potentially do very well. Now, the last one we have on the list is ordinals. Again, we saw an ordinals craze, and you guys probably heard ordinals this, ordinals that. BRC20 as well. You probably heard that as well. It's all the same narrative. Now, the best way to think about what ordinals is the gateway to building on Bitcoin. Now, we saw a lot of issues in regard to congesting the Bitcoin network. Now, even though that can happen through ordinals, you have to realize that increases the rewards made for mining. And I'm sure a lot of these mining institutions are probably going to fund projects like ordinals that will do so, as that'll make them much more money. That's just me speculating though. But the main reason this is good is because people believe in Bitcoin, but people want to build upon Bitcoin. And ordinals is essentially the gateway to do that. So if you want to bet on this narrative, ordinals is the best one to bet on at the end of the day, as that is what allows you to build on Bitcoin. But if you do want to go more degen, there is other projects to check out. But ordinals is the safest one in this narrative. Now, one that I'm particularly fond of at the moment is one called Oshi. Because what Oshi does is allows you to build DeFi and decentralized applications on ordinals, which ordinals is built on Bitcoin. That is essentially what Oshi is. So if you're looking for a project that is within the ordinals narrative, I'd always go for ordinals first. But if you want to go more degen, there's Oshi, which provides even more utility as you can use it for DeFi and building applications on ordinals, therefore building on Bitcoin. So these are everything I want to talk about today. 3 emerging narratives which are really popping off in crypto behind the scenes that many people aren't talking about. GPU distribution, great because it has utility, caters towards institutions. They'll start using it, especially if AI grows, because they need a lot of computing power. Second one is BlockDAG. This is kind of like the new idea of layer ones. Last bull market, Layer 1's ETH killing. Now, again, Layer 1 is another buzzword because all Layer 1 means is you're built upon your own blockchain. What people actually meant by Layer 1 is ETH killer. This cycle, I think BlockDAG is the new buzzword that everyone's getting excited about. So, BlockDAG, check out Casper, and also the low cap picks as well. Ordinals, building on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going nowhere. We all know this. People want to use Bitcoin for more. They just peer-to-peer transactions. And Ordinals is what's front-running that. So, these are the ones I check out, guys. They are degen, but I would say they're good picks to have in general.
I like it. That's good stuff. Very good stuff. Real quick, I want to go to my screen here. While Seth was just out here just killing it, there was something really crazy that happened on the Bitcoin dominance chart.
Oh, wow.
There's also something really crazy happening on the total 3 chart. So shout out to JT. He's the one that kind of brought this to our attention. If anyone saw this, you might be asking, what in the world is happening right now? Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you were to go out to like the daily chart, for example, you see a huge gap. It's when you come down to the lower time frames, you're seeing, all right, it's giving us a big candle here. And of course, that's what made me go over and look at Bitcoin dominance. You guys can see Bitcoin dominance just plummeted from almost right below 50% all the way down to 49.2%. You're seeing ETH dominance plummeted here. And it made me wonder what the heck is going on. Well, let's go back over here to CoinMarketCap. And this is where I think I've figured out what is happening right now. Look right here, Bitcoin dominance. If I even zoom in on it, let me zoom. I think you guys can probably see it now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin dominance sitting at 49%. All right. This is why this is significant, because there have been periods of times where the difference between what you're looking at on TradingView when it comes to Bitcoin dominance using CryptoCap, there's been a difference of sometimes upwards of 2% difference between them. But notice now there's a 0.2% difference. Bitcoin on TradingView, 49.2, CoinMarketCap, 49%. My best guess, JT, but I think this a lot of kind of evidence kind of supporting this. I think that TradingView this morning while we were live just added a boatload of new cryptos that have not been available to TradingView before this morning. So for that reason, that's why you're seeing over a 5-minute span going back down to total 3, total 2. This massive jump. It's not because the coins that we've been tracking here for the last couple of weeks all of a sudden just massively outpaced Bitcoin. It's because they just added a whole bunch of them. And again, crazy. we jumped from what, 320.4 billion to 335. So that means about 15, almost $16 billion worth of coin market cap that had not been on TradingView before just got added. What those are, we're gonna have to do some more research to look into what those are. But in case anyone's wondering what's happening, no, everything is normal. It's TradingView just making an update this morning. We didn't see a massive drop in Bitcoin or a massive skyrocket in any altcoin prices. It's just TradingView updating themselves and saying, all right, hey, we got some new coins now. You can use TradingView to examine.
Hopefully some like bot traders didn't just get absolutely wrecked. If they had like Bitcoin dominance somehow in their bot algorithm, they totally.
Can you buy? That's something I haven't even looked at.
You can put any data point into a. I mean, if you know how to program, you can put any data point into a trading algorithm. Yeah, you could put how many times the decibels outside your house reach a certain level. Like, put anything, right? But anyway,
I would say a big takeaway. I just want to finish off. Even though on a chart perspective, we're going to go back to my chart real quick, T-Shroom. On a chart perspective, more often than not, you would look at something like this and say, hey, well, that means that this bullish momentum is over. This is an outlier. I still expect Bitcoin dominance to climb. We just had a new data point reset, and we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But back to you, T-Shroom. We're going to wrap up the show here in just a minute, but I'll go back to you.
Yeah, I would say that this might even be a case where TradingView is going to come out and not apologize, but like say, hey, we're going to fix this, because that's not useful. It's not useful data if you're just going to dump a whole bunch of new. If you're going to skew the data all of a sudden, like I think they're going to have to fix that. In my opinion, there's no fundamental reason why that wick should exist. It should have been compensated for in their algorithm.
Yeah.
Anyway, Crypto Seth, thank you so much for delivering all that information. I'm actually coming off quite a bit of research into block DAGs, and I'm not a dev, so I don't fully understand the gravitas of it. But what I will say is the guy behind specifically Caspa, who's kind of leading the block DAG development, starts with a Y. It's some Eastern European name I can't remember, but Yanakana or something like that. he's very well respected. He was cited in the Avalanche white paper. He's cited in the DOT white paper, and he's been cited by Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik in like academic settings. So he's definitely legit. Caspa, is still risky in my opinion. It's not like Bitcoin in the sense that it's a sure. Well, Bitcoin's not a sure thing either. Nothing's a sure thing, but there's more risk to Caspa, even though it has a lot of promise. But yeah, all of those narratives really cool. I have not been tracking the ordinals narrative almost at all, so it's good.
Yeah, it's a very unique one. It's very undervalued in my perspective because at the end of the day, Bitcoin's going nowhere. People want to use Bitcoin for more than just peer-to-peer transactions. And this is why layer 2s will probably become very popular because people want to transact Bitcoin more fast, more efficiently. Yeah. That's why I have some layer 2 gems as well. One to check out is Tectum. You guys will probably be amazed by that one. You can print off a physical soft note. That's what they call their like crypto bills. Hand it to someone in real life and they can take the crypto of that bill. It's a very unique project and it's very new as well. But yeah, one thing I do find funny before you guys wrap this up is for you guys, low risk is Bitcoin. But for me and my community, low risk is the likes of Casper and Render and Injective, which just shows you the disparity between both our communities. But it's amazing you guys having me. I appreciate it.
It's cool.
Yeah, Seth, thank you so much for coming on here. I also dropped some of the links to go follow, subscribe to both Seth and the Gem Hunters. Make sure you guys go do that as well. We are wrapping up today's Friday show. It's not the last show of the week because we do have our Saturday show tomorrow, which, T-Shroom, you're out for that?
Correct. I will be military stuff.
So I'm going to be figuring out it's going to be a Tim solo show. Will be very, very interesting. Make sure you guys come back. But closing thought of the day, I told you guys we're going to start closing out shows with some thoughts. As we're coming into the weekend here, I want to encourage every single one of you guys to use this time to continue to make sure your priorities are in the right place. Every single one of us got into crypto to better ourselves, our families, and those around us. But a lot of times when you take your eyes off the prize, you can get distracted and you can lose everything you came in for. And not even in the Christian, just in the Christian faith, but many lifestyles around the world understand the principle of resting or Sabbathing, depending on how you want to call it. I want to encourage each one of you guys every single week to take a 24-hour period and rest. Take some time away from crypto. Obviously, take some time away from work. Spend time with those you love. Spend time with your priorities because guess what? Yes, when you want to build and you want to grow and you want to make new wealth, there is times and moments to grind and grind and grind, but there's also moments to pause, reflect, and to keep in mind what is most important. So make sure each and every single one of you guys this weekend take some time away from the computer screens, take some time with your families and the reason you got into crypto in the first place. With that said, though, I love each and every single last one of you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Investing bros.